I would like to welcome our first guest speaker. This is Eunice Maina, our CEO, our mentor, and also our mother. Please welcome Eunice.
Good morning. It's great to see all of you, though I can't see many of your faces. Thank you, Lois, and the Bismart team for this opportunity. Any opportunity to be able to educate and enlighten our customers and to help them be successful with our products. It's always very welcome. Just to introduce myself, yes, I'm the Eunice Maina, the CEO and founder of Bismart, the mother, as they call me. And just to give you a brief before I introduce my friend Nancy. And as I give this brief, I would like all of you also to introduce yourselves. Tell us who you are, what business you do, or what you sell if you sell something. And you can put your expectation on the chat. What are you expecting out of this meeting? So just put it on the chat. For those who are on Facebook Live, you can put it on the comment section of this particular live video. So we are, for those who are here, we are live also on Facebook. So just know that we are broadcasting, yeah? So just put your name, who you are, where you work, what you sell. You never know, your customers could be here. We always like to give our customers an opportunity to sell to each other because it's about networks, it's about relationships. Yeah, so just be clear, feel safe to share what you do because that is what we would want to support you on. And also put your expectation. What are you expecting in this particular meeting? Okay, so just to give you a brief of where we've come from as Bismart. Bismart was started in 2017, and many of you may not know how it began, but it's a very interesting, for those who have read my book, Sell Me This Pen, it's a very interesting story because I never knew that I was ready to quit my job until 31st of December 2016. Actually, it was not 31st, it was 1st of January 2017. So I went on holiday, I went on leave. I didn't have any plan to quit my job. And I was writing my book, Sell Me This Pen, at that point. And that particular day, I didn't feel like writing so much. So I thought, let me think about how will insurance look like in the future? And so I believe, ideas were just brought to me, and I was writing about, given the penetration of mobile phone, internet penetration in Kenya, then insurance will have to be mobile. It will have to be on these platforms. And look at us now. We are here meeting each other, not physically, but wherever you are, if you're in Meru, in Mombasa, wherever you are, we are here and having this conversation. And so I wrote, and I thought, the biggest problem that I saw in the insurance sector was transparency, lack of transparency, because many customers would complain to me that I was not told this is not covered. And now I have a claim and I'm being told now that it is not covered. And that would break my heart because I sell insurance not because of money only, but I sell insurance because I believe it is a tool that can help us not, slip back to poverty, because a hospital bill or a write-off of your car can actually cause you to get into poverty. And so I would ask, how can we build transparency so that people are able to know what is covered in advance before they buy a cover? And that is where the idea of an online comparison platform, because you have a mobile phone, you have internet, then why can't you just sit in your bedroom or in your sitting room, go to Bismart, put in the product that you want, say if it's a health cover, or if it's a motor insurance, or if it's a personal accident or last expense, just go and see what offers are available in the market. What, if it is health, what is Britam offering? What is Jubilee offering? What is this, all these other companies offering? And not just on price, because price may not be the best measure of getting the right cover. Sometimes cheap is very expensive. And so you are able to compare benefits, you know, and the things that you guys call fine prints, you know, the exclusions, the excess limits, the waiting periods. You're able to see what waiting period is this company offering, say Jubilee, and what waiting period is Britam offering. So when you see that, then you are able to choose the right insurance for yourself. Because if you don't get the right insurance, then you end up being in trouble. So that is the reason why we began Bismart, to build transparency in a rather opaque industry. And every day, daily, what we are trying to do is to educate our customers, to to tell them what is available, what is not available, basically to tell our truth, you know. Then you make a decision based on the credible information that is available for you. And then we can reduce the number of complaints that we are having. So why are we here today? We're here today because we have one of the insurance companies that went down. And we all know, you know, times are hard for all of us. And I don't think insurance companies are immune, and banks and all. But this is where we are. And we've got customers coming to us asking, Eunice, what do I do? I had a policy in this company. What do I do now? Where do I move from here? And so we thought, instead of answering one person at a time, why don't we, you know, have this webinar and answer all these questions. And hopefully, by the end of this meeting, you will have a solution to the questions that you have. So join with me here. I'm joined by Nancy Aketch. Nancy is a friend and a colleague in the industry, and because we believe in collaboration. We are not here to compete. We're here to collaborate. Remember, insurance penetration is still at less than 3%. And what me and Nancy keep asking, what are we competing for? There's so many customers out there who are not reached. The question is, how can we come together and provide solutions for customers, provide information for customers, so that then we have so many people. So we, me and Nancy say, you know, it's a blue ocean. So we don't have to, it's not bloody, you know. So Nancy also runs an insurance agency called Tarajii, and we collaborate in many ways. I know, I mean, she'll tell you more about our collaboration. And this moment I want to take to ask Nancy, please introduce yourself and tell us again what you see.
All right, thank you very much, Eunice and the team and everybody joining us for this webinar. I'm excited to be collaborating with Bismart and Eunice. Eunice is a friend, a colleague, and like she has rightfully said, there's enough for everyone, and we've done a lot, and I'm so excited. Every time we do something together, it's just, you know, it gets people wondering, so how are you guys doing this, and how different are you guys doing this, you know? And I remember our first collaboration with her was AfyaSmart. AfyaSmart skyrocketed, and people were like, these are some of the conversations that we need to hear. These are some of the products that we need to have as an industry, and this is a much needed because it speaks to the customer. So what I love about our collaboration with Eunice, we always look at everything from a customer perspective. Everything any information, any webinar, any product, we look at a customer perspective. What is it that they're saying? What is it that they really want to hear or to learn? So that's really the reason of having this webinar today. And thank you for joining us again. My name is Nancy Aketch, and today we'll be talking about everything about what happens when an insurance company collapses. So Eunice, is it a good time to just get started? And yes, as she has said, I'm a CEO of Tarajii Insurance Agency. I have been in the industry for the last 14 years. It's a lifelong journey that we keep learning every day. We keep reinventing ourselves. We keep reinventing our processes. So I'm really excited to be one of the thought leaders who are going to help shape this industry and to help the market share at least rise, so that's really our objective and all we are passionate for this industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. I think we go just right into it. And
yes,
what we are going to do here is that we have questions for Nancy. And I know you also have more questions. We are going to answer those questions. And I will start with Nancy. What does it mean when an insurance company has been put on statutory management? What does that mean?
Good question. So on the 5th of April, 2022, we woke up to a press statement by Insurance Regulatory Authority. We all know Insurance Regulatory Authority is the regulator who has been authorized by the government to look out for the public interest to look out for the interest of the public. So most of us within the industry saw this press statement, and there's a lot of things that they had indicated in the press statement. One of them was that resolution has been put on statutory management. So I asked myself, so what does this really mean? So I'll just try and put it in a very layman's context so that we all understand. So what it really means is that with effect from the day that Insurance Regulatory Authority says an insurance company has been put on statutory management, it means they are not allowed to transact any business whatsoever. Okay. Secondly, it means even their license has been revoked, and Insurance Regulatory Authority is monitoring their books to see if they'll be able to bounce back or not. So really, being under statutory management does not mean that the company has been shut completely. So over a period of time, which IRA is going to guide us, they're going to tell us if this company can be revived or not. So really right now, what the Insurance Regulatory Authority is doing is just monitoring the situation, talking to the stakeholders, and seeing if it is a company that can be salvaged or not. So that's what it really means. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Nancy. And what does it mean? Now we understand what it means to be on statutory management. And what is PCF? What is PCF and how does it work?
Thank you for that question. So in the press statement, I'll keep on referring to this because that's really the public notice that was put there. So there are quite a number of issues that Insurance Regulatory Authority raised. So the second issue that they raised, they said they have authorized PCF. So PCF is Policyholder Compensation Fund to now manage all the existing businesses for the insurance company. So they were appointed effective 5th of April 2021. So what does public compensation hold? Okay, PCF, Public Compensation Fund means, okay? So this is a fund that was incorporated in 2005 in pursuant of Section 179 of the Insurance Act, okay? So the whole idea or the primary reason why the fund was put together was to protect consumers so that in the event that a company is insolvent or closes down, it protects the consumers and gets to pay their claims. Okay, so any consumer, any customer who had an existing claim before 5th of April, their claims are going to be paid by the Policyholder Compensation Fund. Okay, and there's a limit to which that Policyholder Compensation Fund can only pay. So the limit for any one claim is 250,000 for any claim. I know insurance, you talk about indemnifying someone where it gets you to a position you were in before the claim. So I'll give an example. So if you had a motor claim, for instance, and your claim is a write-off and the value of your car is 500,000, so what the policyholder compensation fund states is that it's going to pay you up to a maximum of 250. So meaning you're not going to be paid up to the, up to the value of your claim. Okay, so it's only going to pay up to 250,000. So the difference, unfortunately, as a claimant, you're going to take care of it yourself. Are we together up to that point? I hope that makes sense.
Of course, it is painful, Nancy. It may make sense, but the thing is that as a customer, that is painful.
Yes.
Yeah. So what happens? What is the role of IRA to guard these consumer matters? How does IRA help in this? And I know the PCF is one of the initiatives by IRA, but just mention something, because this is what customers are asking us. Where is IRA when all this is happening? Okay,
good question. So as I mentioned earlier on, IRA's mandate is one to protect the public's interest. So in their press statement, they talked about the steps that they have done to avoid getting to this point. Okay, there's been meetings, they've really tried to salvage that insurance company not to get to the point that they've got to. Okay, so for IRA, for them to have issued that statement, and I know it was not from a position of they really wanted to, they had done whatever it takes, but when it gets to a point where consumers are at risk, so it got, and that was a red flag, consumers were now at risk, where this company was not able to pay their claims. Creditors were complaining. So that's why IRA quickly stepped in and said, okay, at this point, you don't have the capital adequacy to continue running your day-to-day operations. So that is as far as IRA was able to step in, okay? And if you ask me for my take, I think from a personal perspective, there is more that IRA needs to do. Because before this webinar and before we started having this conversation, I kept on going online, I kept on watching news. There was no one who was talking about this conversation, like what is going on, okay? So we were all in the dark. Yes, we've issued this press statement. So what happens to the existing customers? For instance, this company was big on medical insurance. Somebody could just drop dead tomorrow. What happens? Who do they sue? Where do they go to? Okay, so we haven't had a lot of awareness to the consumers on what they really need to do. I know there's a lot that is being done on the back end, but if you ask me, there's a lot of awareness that needs to be created. And there's only so much Eunice and I can do as thought leaders in this industry, but it might carry more weight if we get to hear more from our regulator. What do consumers need to do when this happens? There's policyholder compensation fund. What are the steps that they need to go through, which I'm going to talk about later on in our webinar, the steps to do as a customer when you already have a claim with a company that has been rendered, or rather that is under statutory management. What do you need to do? So as IRA, I know they've already done the best that they could to take care of the best interests of their consumers who are already customers of resolution in this context. Yes.
Great. Yeah, I know you have answered some of these questions, because I was collecting questions from different customers, and just to say these questions are there. How much can an insurer recover from? Insured recover from PCF? You've already answered that, up to a maximum of 250,000. And then in priority, when it comes to creditors, okay, where do the policyholder claim lie? You see, we know that for limited companies that, the first people who need to be paid are creditors. But now in the ranking, which particular, where is the claimant coming in that? Or is it just the PCF that takes care of the claimant?
Okay, good question. So in this whole process, it's the claimant who is given priority. Any person who had a claim before 5th of April is going to be given priority. So we have situations of, and this will be the order of, because I've personally spoken to PCF because I had, like it's just it's a matter that I really needed to know more about. And even as we do this, coming from a point of information. So this is the conversation that when I was talking to them, they told me. So in order of priority, what they're going to do. So we cash in lieu, where there are some customers who went ahead and repaired their cars or paid their bills in hospitals. So those are the customers who are going to be given priority. They're going to be refunded their money because they already used their money, okay? So the second priority are all the customers who had already registered. And please note, the keyword here is registered. So if you had already registered a claim with this company before 5th of April, that's another priority that is going to be given to you. So the other mandate of Policyholder Compensation Fund is to ensure that you're paid within 30 days of you submitting your information to them. So within 30 days as a claimant, they're saying they're going to pay your claim, okay? So your question to creditors. Unfortunately for PCF, Policyholder Compensation Fund, they're not mandated to take care of creditors. So for creditors, unfortunately, they might have to wait longer in the sense that for whatever decision that insurance regulatory authority is going to arrive at, if, for instance, they decide the company is going to liquidate it, they're going to be liquidated. So they're going now to recover from either the assets of the company, but once that decision has been made, so they just have to keep checking for a gazette notice, because the insurance regulatory authority is going to issue a gazette notice on the way forward. What do the creditors need to do? So the creditors might have to wait a little bit longer for them to get a decision on when they're going to get their money. The other thing, we also have the existing customers. So we haven't talked about the existing customers. In the press statement, they also talked about, with effect from 5th of April, all the existing policies have been cancelled. So what happens to all these people? Where do they go? Imagine a corporate client who had paid, say, 5 million in March. And then this press statement comes in that it's been cancelled. What does that mean to an existing customer who had just paid them so much money, okay? And information out there is they had collected up to billions of premiums. So what happens to all these monies, okay? So for all the existing customers, the right thing to do, okay, is to buy an alternative cover. Do not wait for anything else. Like we always say, do not walk around with risks that you cannot bear, okay? So the best thing to do is to buy an alternative cover. Okay, so the question is, what happens to my money that I paid to them? Again, just like creditors, you'll have to wait a little bit longer for a decision to be made. So a gazette notice is going to be made, but this is not a guarantee. It's subject to the decision that they're going to make. So that decision, let's keep waiting for that gazette notice in the dailies. We see the decision if they're going to be refunded or not. But for creditors, they'll have to wait for the liquidation of the company to recover their monies. Yes.
Thank you, Nancy. I was about to ask you that question. Okay, I'm an existing customer. Yes, I don't have a claim, but I paid premium. What happens to me? So thank you for that. There's another question from Otieno Calvin. Please elaborate the role of AKI in this. What is the role of AKI in this?
All right, good question, Calvin, thank you. So AKI is Association of Kenya Insurers. So we all know all these insurance companies are member of AKI. So AKI being the association, they're caught up in this situation because this is their member. How then can they be the people who are, again, well, they're just not they're not out there to talk about it, but I know there's a lot that they're doing in the back end to salvage the situation, because it's really important, because Resolution was one key member of the association. So at this point, the biggest role when a company has been put under statutory management, it's beyond AKI. At this point, it's only IRA that has a say in everything. AKI does not have a say when a company has been put under statutory management, because they are an association like any other. So at this point, it's only Insurance Regulatory Authority that has been mandated by the government to spearhead this whole process. So AKI might not have a bigger role at this point. Yes.
Okay, is another question from Dr. Inoti. What are the steps a health service provider for, I don't know, RIL means what, needs to take towards payment of money owed by, I hope, is it resolution or RIL? I don't know what that means. Maybe Mr. Inoti, you could just ask the question. You can unmute yourself and say what exactly you mean. Is he there?
I can see it's still here.
Yeah.
Resolution Insurance Limited.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Inoti. Thank you, Inoti. So the service providers fall under creditors, okay, who haven't been paid. So again, like I've said, that's now the process. They're going to wait a little longer for the decision and that gazette notice on when they're going to be paid once the company has been liquidated. So for them, they'll have to wait a little longer for them to recover the money owed to them. Yes.
Great. Any other question that we have?
I can see a question from Grace Ndungu. So does PCF
okay.
also take care of unpaid commissions to intermediaries? No. So policyholder compensation fund only takes care of policyholders who already had a claim with a company that has been put under statutory management or has completely become insolvent. So let me just expound a little bit more. From the time it was incorporated in 2005, any policyholder, if you're buying insurance in Kenya, you pay for it, okay? You pay towards this fund. So we are all, if you have an insurance policy existing, we are all contributing towards this fund. So your charge is 0.2% of the amount of the premium that you're paying for. So you'll always see as 0.25% for any, especially general insurance, for any insurance business that you're buying. So it's already charged for. So that's where the money goes towards the fund to protect any insurance company in Kenya, okay? And from the history of all the companies that have gone down, Concord and Resolution are one of the beneficiaries of this fund, okay? So they're the ones who have at least benefited from this. So this was just Insurance Regulatory Authority thought through this process on how then can we protect the consumers if an insurance company has gone under. So this one just protect the policy holders who already have claims. So what happens to unpaid commissions? Again, they have to wait a little longer. They fall under the category of the creditors who are owed by resolution. So they have to wait a little longer for the decision to be made and they recover their money then.
Yeah, and just to add on to the issue of you have no claim, you had paid your premium. I know we are handling quite a number of those cases at Bismart, whereby customers had already paid, especially corporate customers, you know, you've paid huge amount of money and now you can't get services. What I know is that, yes, they haven't been paid, but resolution has promised to pay, you know, the money back, that is the prorated amount back to the customer. But we're still following up. We're really pushing to have that paid. We also have other customers who had paid bills in the hospital, and we are following up to make sure that it is paid. So yes, we're doing whatever we can for our customers to make sure they get their payment back. But as Nancy has said, you need to take an alternative cover. The reason is you're exposed. And, you know, if something happens and you go to the hospital and you have a $500,000 bill or $1 million bill, you're exposed. And yes, it is painful, but what we have done is to look for companies that are willing to accommodate you better than others. For example, if it is, we all know that when you're moving from, or rather when you're taking a cover in an insurance company, there's waiting periods. So what we have done, we've negotiated with some companies to waive that waiting period for the customers who are in resolution. The other thing that we've done with our Afya Smart product, especially for corporates and even individuals, is to say we can instead of saying we're going to give you a whole year cover, we can give you a short-term cover just so that you don't interfere with your cash flows. So that if, for example, you had 6 months remaining to your next renewal, then we're willing to give you a 6 months cover as you sort your cash flow issues. So those are some of the things that we're doing as Bismart. And there's another question here, Nancy, from Otieno Calvins. We understand the policies were also reinsured. How do reinsurers come in to salvage the situation?
I like that. Honestly, I've not thought through about reinsurers, but just for our viewers or people who are in this webinar who might not understand the role of reinsurers. So reinsurers, they're the ones who insure insurance companies. So there are those risks that are so big for an insurance company to accommodate at any one time. So they always transfer that risk to a reinsurance company. Okay, so if a maximum capacity of an insurance company for a certain risk, say fire, is say $1 billion, and they get a risk that is over and above $1 billion, the difference they take it to the reinsurance companies. Okay, so a reinsurance company is like a supplier in this ecosystem. Okay, so in the event of this whole thing happening, meaning for them, they only come in when there's a claim that is over and above the capacity that the insurance company had. Okay, so they'll only honor up to that point. So where we are right now, the company is under statutory management. So any role or any risks that they were sharing with this company, they'll still have to honor it. Okay, because they had been paid their premium, they are also the risk carriers. So any risks that had not been paid, they will still have to honor their share of risk and pay the claimants. Okay, but now that the company has already been put in statutory, it means reinsurers cannot even come in because the risk is only up to 250, which is too little. Okay, and I think this is a conversation that we need to also have at a policy level, that this policyholder compensation fund is too little. It's a bit punitive, if you ask me. It's too low. So how can we now help or put our voices in this policyholder compensation fund so that the limit can be raised to up to an X amount? That would be really be fair to all claimants. Okay, so that's really the role of reinsurers in this conversation. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Nancy. I love this conversation. And, when you talk about the policy level, we are not going to wait for government to come and help us, and this is what being a citizen means, to say, okay, things are not right somewhere. What is it that we can do within our abilities to sort things out? Because we can't wait for someone else. And anyway, that's the whole basis of this conversation that we have started. Because as Nancy is saying, in the news, it's no longer there. Nobody's talking about it. We are the only ones getting, customers calling, hey, I had a policy. What do I do? And I'm glad that we were able to do this. So, so just to let you know, there are options. Come to us. If you had a claim, we are going to do our best to follow up for you. So even if you've not been our customer, just reach out to us. Lois and Joan, you could put your contacts on the chat. Reach out to us and let us know how we can help you. Any comment, any question as we add this conversation? We like to keep it short and sweet. I hope it was sweet. But we like to keep it short. Any question, you can just unmute yourself. And I am not on my Facebook page, so I don't know whether there are questions there. If you allow me, I'll quickly check and see whether there is a question. Now I can't see where it is. Lois, you're saying something.
Sorry, I'm just responding to you. We don't have any question on Facebook so far.
Good.
Yes, but you have viewers who are also viewing from Facebook.
All right. Okay. So I believe those who will watch this video after will have questions. Please feel free to type your questions on the comment section. And let's have, what to say, Diane, Yeah, I see in other media people saying, we are on our own. And now, if we know that we are on our own, then the best option is to unite, collaborate, and help each other. All right?
I agree. Yeah. And also, as I was telling you, after 5th of April, after the press statement, I just went online. And interestingly enough, the authors who are writing articles about our industry are not people with any background on the insurance industry.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's really important. Like you rightfully said, we are on our own. So what do we need to do? We do not have to wait. If we wait, somebody else is going to do what we need to be doing. Okay. And what I've also seen online, because this news, nowadays you don't have control on what people say and write online. I could just see misinformation about the industry. And I thought, what do I need to do as a personal level? And Eunice and I said, okay, let's do this and create awareness from a point of information, from a point of, leaders, from a point of professionals who really understand this industry. Now, like Eunice has already thought through, how then can we help the existing customers and come up with an awesome product? Like no one has already thought about it yet. Okay, so it's for us is really to come up with solutions. I can see James Irungu has a question or has raised his hand. Can you hear from him?
James, unmute yourself and ask, please.
Yes. Is it morning or it's already afternoon? Thank you so much, Eunice, for this discussion. I don't know whether I can put also my camera on. Please
do if you can.
It will be awesome if we could see you.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. It's good to see you again, Eunice. And I think together, we have had a very long history. I'm happy to have joined you in this discussion. And I thought one of the objectives of this meeting was also to warn customers, because I think that was the main, not only learn about, when a company goes under. I think it's also good to tell our customers that it is not only important to have an insurance, it helps to be very careful to take care and get to understand the insurance you are purchasing. You are purchasing from, put in quotes, a very credible insurance company. Like there are so many customers who sometimes they just buy insurance for, like in this case, third party, for example. They just want to satisfy a police officer that they have insurance, but they have no idea what it means just to take insurance. How I wish my fellow Kenyans and the world over would understand that it is important. It's very, very important to have a very, very, well-informed, to be well-informed about the insurance company and their position in terms of credibility, in terms of, their strengths and all that, not just buying insurance. And you mentioned it, Eunice, that cheap is very expensive. Many people will suffer because they went that route. You have just warned them that they decided to go for the cheap, and no wonder then they are suffering the consequences. I thought I should mention that. And the other thing I need to add on to this discussion is that it's a bit unfortunate that when a company is going under, it does not just go under within a month. It's a long process. And it is very unfortunate because most of all these things are known. I hope I'm not shouting so much, but the truth of the matter is the regulator, there are all these indications. There are all these indications. And it would have helped maybe if this was stopped at some point. I'm sure for resolution to have gone under. Sorry to know that there are some people who have lost. They have already taken insurance, but then they will not get the service. But honestly, there are those who even bought insurance as late as maybe 2-3 months before it was pronounced. So, and this is not going, a company being put under statutory management. It's not an event, it doesn't just happen one day. So it is a long process. It most likely, maybe this has been known. All the signals were there 2-3 years ago. I wish the statute, those who are in charge of regulations, would try to save customers from, all these dangers. I thought I should mention that. And once again, thank you so much, and I'm happy to have joined you in this meeting.
Thank you, James. It's true. Yeah, it's not an event. And one of the things that we are doing, and I'm really praying that we are able to get it out as Bismart, is to enable you as customers to review your experience with your insurer. So what we are working on the Bismart platform is to enable the review option, whereby you just come. It's a centralized way of you coming to say, I am in this company. This is the kind of experience that I got. And I am hoping that you who are here and those who are watching after this, that you're going to take your buying insurance process in your hands. That you're not going to just wait for somebody to tell you what you should do. Just do a little bit of understanding, at least even reading the policy document. I know it's a difficult document, but ask your agent to interpret those terms for you. At least don't just take the document and put it in the shelf and wait for when you have a claim is when you're realizing, oh my God, this was an exclusion. Just read that document. If you don't get a document, demand for it. It's your right. Go through it and see whether you're willing to go with the terms that are there. So when we are ready to launch that feature, whereby you just come and on Bismart platform is where you're going to just give reviews, then other customers can be buying based on your reviews. The way you do for hotels? When you want to visit a hotel, you go and see what are the reviews. So that is one of the things that we are really working hard to get you do. It's going to take a little bit of time, but even now, feel free to come and just on the website, there's a part you can actually do that. Is it right now? Not yet, but just feel free to come even on our Facebook page and give those complaints. We're not charging for that. Just do it because it will help us be able to build a platform that works for you. Okay. So James has emphasized the importance of insurance. It's so important. Yes, we get disappointed, but all of us know there are situations that if it were not for insurance, you would have gone down. Your whole business would have gone down. All your family would have had to sell properties. So this does not remove the need for insurance. Are there challenges? Yes, they are there. Are there people who are committed to fixing them? Yes, they are there. Is it easy? No, it is so hard. You should ask Nancy what we had to go through this morning for us to even hold this meeting. Some of us do not belong to some WhatsApp groups because of this. So yes, it is very difficult. It is very risky, even what we are doing, but we have to do it because we care for you as our customers. All right. So Nancy, do you have some closing remark? And then we can say bye.
Nancy, you're speaking on mute, but I'll interrupt you briefly. There's a question from Steve Nguru. Okay. Are insurance companies required to publish their audited financials? And can one foresee from the audit this kind of problems?
Yes, all their financials are usually published in the dailies, okay? And they're also if you go to IRA website, you're going to see their financial for all these companies, how they've all performed in the previous financial year. So yes, getting to foresee these kind of problems, that one from an auditor kind of perspective, I wouldn't comment that because yeah, but those financials should be able to tell us some of the red flags. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. Eunice, do you have anything to add on that?
And no, yeah, it's true. You go to IRA website, you'll see even the performance, even for the last 3-4 years. And yeah, it gives you all, even the licensed companies, all the licensed intermediaries, I mean insurance agents and brokers. You're able to see all that information. Let's be prudent buyers. That's my call for you. Let's be prudent. Let's take our insurance buying process in our hands. Let's not leave it to other people, and let's make the right choices. Always ask where you cannot understand. We are available, and I know you have agents and brokers. Just ask. All right. So Nancy, you had something? No? Yes?
Yeah, I had a question for you, just your take from a thought leader perspective. So we have relatively enjoyed a calm industry. Let me just say calm, quote unquote, where we've not had such an event shake our industry and the public image of us. So what does this mean as an industry to us and to our customers and to all the stakeholders? What does this really mean to us? What happened recently?
Well, you have reminded me, one of the customer asked, what does this, tell about the industry? And it's unfortunate, it's very unfortunate, but, I like to look at the opportunity side of life. That we all know that COVID happened. We were very scared of what will happen in our lives. We thought we are going to be wiped off of this face of the earth. And I know there are some people who could not leave their houses or let their kids go out because of how dangerous it was. And look at us. Yes, it's unfortunate we lost some people, our close relatives and friends. It was very painful. I know I lost a very good friend of mine. It wasn't easy. But then the question we need to always ask is, what is the opportunity in all this? Because yes, Nancy, we've enjoyed a very calm industry, and thanks to IRA and ACI for this. The question, for me, this presents an opportunity for us to dig deeper and ask, things could go wrong because they have, they haven't gone so wrong, but things could go wrong. How prepared can we get so that when it goes that way, then we don't sink? What is the immunity that we should build, like the way we are doing with COVID, so that then we can prevent this in future? Again, yes, we can say we are at the lowest level of the policy making, but I believe that we have a voice that we can raise and have a look at all that and see what can we do from our level, and then we can engage other stakeholders and see what can be done in the industry. That's what I would say. I don't know what your thoughts are, Nancy.
Spot on. You really said it's our level of preparation when this happens, and what immunity are we building as an industry? Yeah. So I agree with you. Thank you very much for that.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. Keep engaging us. Send those questions. If you want another one, tell us. Share this. We'll share this video with you. Share with your friends and relatives. Let everybody get. The Bible says that lack of knowledge. What is it called? My people perish because of lack of knowledge. We are not going to perish. Let's get as much knowledge as we can get. And let's spread the word, and let's make, the industry the best, and Kenya, our motherland, the best country that we can make in our own little way. Wangari Maathai said, let's be the hummingbird in our own little ways. In your sector, for us and Nancy, this is what we can do for our sector. What are you doing in your sector? Because you don't know it's next, you never know what shakeup is coming in your sector. This is our turn to take the bashing, to take the hit, but we can't run away from it. What we do is to face it head on and find solutions. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eunice. Sorry. Go ahead, Nancy.
I was saying thank you for your closing remarks, Eunice. And just to emphasize on your closing remarks, there's a quote by Robin Sharma who says, "It's not the reasonable man who will change the world. It is the unreasonable man." So as unreasonable as this conversation and as uncomfortable as it might get, we just have to do it. That is the change that is needed. Change is very uncomfortable. To say it and to do it. Thank you.